Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us on the Weather Desk. I'm Meteorologist Craig Moeller. We're broadcasting from the 13 News Now studios here in Southeast Virginia, serving all of Hampton Roads, Northeast North Carolina. And with the Weather Desk, as I so often say, I'm excited to serve the entire region, the country, and we take in stories from around the world as well. We've got a lot to go over this morning, so I want to jump straight into the weather headlines. We do have a weather impact alert for extreme heat. Hampton Roads, we are not alone, okay? We have an excessive heat warning or an extreme heat warning for tomorrow. All right, much of the eastern U.S. and the northeast U.S. suffering in the same types of heat, and we've got this excessive heat warning or extreme heat warning for a good chunk of the country, as I'm going to show you. We also have some advisories out, and we'll get into all of that, talk about how long this extreme heat is going to last. Out west, wildfires continue to be a problem. We'll take you out and show you the Aspen wildfire. We'll update you on what the National Weather Service is doing to track wildfires. We also have the brand new U.S. Drought Monitor just released. There is some really good news for Hampton Roads and for other parts of the country. We'll show you kind of how things are progressing. Remember that really heavy rain we had a week and a half ago? Well, now that heavy rain is showing up in the drought monitor, and it's made a big difference for us. So some good news there I'll pass along. I've got an update on the tropics as well, the tropical weather outlook. Things still relatively quiet in the Atlantic. We're going to talk about why it's quiet right now. And the Eastern Pacific, we've got Douglas out there, a tropical storm spinning. I'll give you the very latest on that. We're also still monitoring updates coming out of Venezuela as they continue to look for survivors. And it's still a search and rescue effort that's going on down there. But the longer we go, the harder it is for those survivors to last. And unfortunately, the death toll continues to climb. So we'll have more on that and the holiday weekend forecast. We're going to start off by taking a look at the highs yesterday across the country. Dangerous heat right now. Dallas, Little Rock, St. Louis, Chicago 95, 97 in Cleveland, temperatures 96 in Atlanta, 93 up in New York. So the heat continues to build, and this dangerous heat, it's going to be there again. Places like Kansas City, 97, 95 in Memphis, D.C., 100 degrees, maybe 101 in New York. They could get there. So this dangerous heat has been building over the eastern U.S., and it's going to really build across Hampton Roads now as well. We've been talking about this and our weather impact alerts, so we're going to continue to monitor this very, very carefully. As I mentioned, we're not in this alone. Right now, northern Missouri and eastern Missouri, from Kansas City through Columbia, Jeff City, over to St. Louis, down through the Boot Heel, all of Illinois, Chicago. You talk about these major metropolitan areas where there's dense urban populations, lots of people living in very close proximity, and where you have extreme heat, this is where we can get really unfortunate news in terms of health impacts on people. So we're going to be watching for stories from some of these major metropolitan areas: St. Louis, Kansas City, Chicago, Milwaukee, Detroit, Indianapolis. All of your cities in Ohio there, from Cleveland back over to Cincinnati, Columbus, so many areas, Toledo, they're going to be worried with this. Kentucky down into Tennessee, and then the Northeast U.S., Boston, New York, these areas, Hartford, they're not used to dealing with triple-digit heat, and this dangerous heat will continue. Philadelphia, Baltimore, D.C., very concerned, and it does include Hampton Roads for tomorrow. Now, there's an extreme heat watch for the Eastern Shore and here in the northeast part of North Carolina, as well as Emporia, that area out to the west. I think these areas will also be included in the extreme heat warning tomorrow as we look ahead to Saturday, because it's going to get even hotter on Saturday. What's going on? Well, with this dangerous heat wave now through Sunday, and we may wind up extending it into Monday, because I don't think Monday is going to be that much cooler. I think we're looking at mid-90s on Monday as well. Feels like temperatures today, 100 to 105 for the most part. Tomorrow, those afternoon peak feels like temperatures 105 to 110. We could see some areas closer to 112. Got to take steps to protect yourself and beat the heat. Here is our futurecast. Feels like temperatures for today, and this is for Norfolk. We could see those feels like temperatures up around 105 to 106. Because of this, we have the heat advisory. It gets worse tomorrow. Take a look. You can see those feels like temperatures 106 by noon tomorrow, 111 tomorrow afternoon at 2 o'clock, 109, 111 again late afternoon. There's no getting away from that heat as we go through the afternoon. So we really need folks to heed what we're saying. You know, we're not just saying that just to fill time on the air. We need you to take steps to protect yourself, whether that's finding AC, staying hydrated, checking on neighbors, limiting the kids' outdoor activities, especially during the peak heating of the day. You want to do all these things and make sure your pet has a cool place to rest and plenty of cool water as well. Temperatures will come down a little bit next week, but we're still in the 90s. Our normal high is 89, so we do have a hot stretch of weather. Just a few quick safety reminders. Reduce or reschedule your outdoor activities from the peak heating of the day. Wear light-colored, loose-fitting clothing, drink plenty of water, and find air conditioning. All of these things, so very, very important. All right, as we take a look right now at the country, we've got some big storms across the north central U.S. You can see from Wisconsin back into Minnesota and Iowa. We have flood advisory there. We had a couple of thunderstorm warnings, nothing in place right now, but you can see the outlook for severe storms up that way. Wind, maybe some hail back through the Great Lakes region. There's a elevated risk, not that tremendous, but there is an elevated risk for tornadoes in the north central U.S. And then as we look ahead to Friday, that storm threat kind of stretches out from the northeast all the way through the north central U.S. And this is the last point I wanted to make. You can see on Saturday, we do have part of our area under that level 2 slight risk. This would come during the afternoon, and I really think most of the models hold the storm chances farther to the north. I think we're still looking okay on the 4th, but that's something that we will keep a close eye to. All right, we're going to take a short break. Coming up next, wildfires in Colorado almost doubling in size overnight, how the National Weather Service is helping first responders tackle the flames, plus a look at the updated U.S. drought monitor. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the Weather Desk. I'm meteorologist Craig Moeller. We're going to turn our attention to increased fire danger red flag warnings up, Gusty winds, low humidity, very dry ground continue to be a problem from southeast southeast Utah, back across Colorado. You can see Pueblo and down into New Mexico. I want to focus on this area here because firefighters in Colorado are still working to contain the Aspen Acres fire in Pueblo County. That's just south of Colorado Springs. So far, it's burned nearly 50,000 acres and at least 150 buildings have been destroyed. The flames are 0% contained, forcing thousands of people to leave their homes. Bill Folsom spoke to one evacuee who knows there's nothing to return to.
The plume of smoke rising above the Aspen Acres fire is a discouraging sight for people evacuated and suspecting their homes are lost.
I want to go in and see, for myself.
Marilyn Rand has lived in Beulah for more than 35 years. With this fire, she was away and couldn't get back before it was too dangerous.
Now you cry, you pray. It's sorrow, it's sadness, it's so many different emotions that you don't know how to feel. Very numb.
This picture, sent to her by a friend, confirms worst fears. She has several properties. This one she lives in is gone.
Literally everything we owned over the course of our lifetimes. Every memento, every photo, every piece of jewelry, everything, it's gone.
On the Pueblo County side, around 100 structures burned, another 55 in Custer County.
This fire will be on the landscape for an extended period of time.
200 firefighters are currently working the fire line.
If they were within 50 to 100 miles of this fire, they were here.
Brutal to hear those stories. And again, the fires are burning out there. It is very dry now. The National Weather Service is keeping close tabs on the wildfires burning across Colorado. Meteorologists are using satellite imagery to keep track of things like new fires and which direction the smoke they are emitting is heading. Now, they're mainly focused on the Aspen Acres fire in Pueblo County and the Gold Mountain fire in Ouray. Forecasters say time is precious, especially in this fight.
We've been able to detect all the way down to a quarter of an acre fire with some of these satellite tools. Really, as long as you've got that intensity of the fire from an initial ignition, within 1 or 2 minutes, you can have a detection with that 1 minute imagery. The earlier you can get people on, the earlier they can develop a plan, potentially evacuate people if needed. So even 1 or 2 minutes can make a massive difference.
The National Weather Service says that the peak wildfire season for Colorado is July and August. We're just now coming into it. This kind of activity is now happening just a little bit earlier than normal. All right, so the dry conditions have been fueling many of those wildfires, and I want to update you on the brand new drought monitor, and we'll start off in that same area that has the high fire risk, that fire danger we were just talking about. As we take a look, there are still portions of Colorado out to the west of Denver under exceptional drought. Some areas have seen some improvements. There's still extreme drought over the west portions of from the Salt Lake Valley westward through the Salt Flats and back out into the western portions of Utah, and then down along the Wasatch and into the southern mountains as well. Also, parts of northern New Mexico under extreme concern for drought. We have exceptional drought right along the Nevada-Idaho border. And you can see some areas with extreme drought out west. Where we are really seeing some improvements, again, California abnormally dry, but really not in bad shape right now. As we turn our attention to the southeast, remember when this was all shaded in that dark, kind of reddish, almost brown color here for exceptional drought? That's all been taken care of over the last month or so. It's really been knocked back. Not bad at all. Even portions of Florida, while there is still some extreme drought in pockets, they've seen some improvements. Things better down along the Gulf Coast. And into the Northeast, we're also seeing more improvements as there have been more areas of rain farther in across the Northeast U.S. Still dry along the coast, as you can see. What I'm really excited about, and I've kind of saved the local look till this last look right here, we have some significant relief across Hampton Roads. Still exceptional drought north of Raleigh. Some portions of North Carolina obviously dealing with extreme drought. You see that just down to the southwest of us. And then out to the northwest across central Virginia, there's still some extreme drought as well. But it's moderate now up around D.C., moderate along the Blue Ridge, so things are better until you get down into the southwest part of Virginia. There it is severe. Here's what's exciting for Hampton Roads. All that heavy rain. You remember 2 weeks ago we had extreme drought. Then last week we had severe drought. Well, last week's early rains, Monday and Tuesday, have knocked this back, and we're now just moderate. That's another big step towards getting out of this drought. And look at this portion of northeast North Carolina now considered abnormal dry. Not technically in that moderate drought anymore. So good news, we still have a ways to go, still severe to the north and out to the west. But for Hampton Roads, we're doing better. All right. Well, hopefully you like that news. Coming up, we're going to take another break. We're 1 month into the hurricane season. I'll have a check on the activity in the Atlantic and the Pacific. Plus, it's been more than a week now since the twin earthquakes rocked Venezuela. I'll look at how Virginia Task Force 1 is helping. All right, it's time to track the tropics for you here on the Weather Desk. And with this outlook, a couple of things to note. One, it's quiet in the Atlantic right now. That's some good news. Douglas formed over in the eastern Pacific. We'll give you the latest on that one. Keep in mind, we're now into July, so that means typically we start to see a little uptick in activity. Of course, the main months for the most development historically have been August, September, and October. We'll see what plays out in 2026 as we go along. One thing we've been seeing is a lot of Saharan dust kind of working across the Atlantic and the main development region. This is the forecast. This is the outlook for Saharan dust. It looks like we're going to see more across the main development region and into the Gulf as well, Eastern Caribbean, these areas around the Turks and Caicos, back over to the Bahamas. Maybe some more dust there. That will help, in theory, suppress development of tropical systems. So some good news there with the general outlook. Nothing is expected over the next 7 days. The Gulf is quiet. The Caribbean looks good. The Southeast U.S. and the development region all look good. Over in the Eastern Pacific, different story. We have Douglas, but you know what? This is posing no threat to land. It's going to weaken as it moves north, and it is far, far away from Hawaii and far off the coast of Mexico and the Baja Peninsula, so we're not worried about that. I do want to let you know, for a more in-depth look at what's happening in the tropics, you should check out our streaming show, Hurricane Hub Live, with our chief meteorologist, Tim Pandages. It airs every single day, weekdays around 8 o'clock, and it's right here on the 13 News Now app. If you are watching on YouTube, you can download the app by scanning the QR code. you see on your screen. All right, we're going to talk earthquakes now, and a little activity showing up there just north of Puerto Rico, kind of a moderate strike there, but generally we've seen just very little activity, and again, no major problems. As we look down to the south, back towards Caracas and Venezuela, it's been quiet, and that's good news because crews are still desperately searching for survivors more than a week after the country got hit with back-to-back earthquakes. The death toll has jumped and now stands at 2,200 people. 11,000 others have been injured. 79 members of Virginia Task Force 1 based in Fairfax County have been on the ground since Friday helping go through the rubble. The team is made up of emergency managers, paramedics, structural engineering specialists. They've responded to dozens more natural disasters, including Hurricane Katrina, the 1995 Oklahoma City bombing, and the 2010 earthquake in Haiti. Now let's take you live outside. Hampton Roads is heating up. Coming up in 2 minutes, more on the weather impact alerts declared today through Sunday. Welcome back to the Weather Desk. Our high in Norfolk yesterday was 90, just 1 degree above normal. Beautiful day yesterday, a lot of sunshine. Hopefully you enjoyed it. It gets hotter today and even hotter tomorrow and stays hot through the weekend. We are 3.76 inches below average for rainfall. None yesterday. We actually have been tracking some sprinkles early this morning as we take a closer look. This is the radar mosaic and it shows some of the precip aloft. You might be wondering, is any of this really making it down to the ground? As we switch and go to the live radar, we're not really seeing much. This is all that's left with the live sweep. And again, that's probably not even making it down to the ground now. So that cloud cover and those light sprinkles we were tracking earlier this morning, a couple thunderstorms east of the eastern shore, it's all fizzled out. Skies are going to become mostly sunny, and it is going to be the heat that we really focus on. Temperatures climbing up mid-90s today, mid to upper 90s inland. Plenty of heat across the region. Tomorrow gets hotter. Temperatures mid to upper 90s, some areas close to 100. Might see a stray sprinkle. There is that elevated risk for severe storms as we get into Saturday afternoon and evening. You don't see much with our futurecast here, the graph model, but some of the other models do indicate there could be a few storms off to the north. Right now, skies are variably cloudy. Dew points are in the low 70s. We're going to see those dew points in the 70s through the weekend with the heat. That's what sets up the really brutal conditions. At the beaches today, a lot of sunshine, temperatures in the upper 80s as we go out on the water today. Not too bad. Again, a few clouds here and there, but generally we're looking at pretty good conditions. Let's get to the 7-day forecast. Our temperatures temperatures today in the mid-90s, a little warmer inland, cooler at the beaches, a lot of sunshine, but very hot conditions, dangerous heat. We should be okay for fireworks south, but we will be watching for a few storms off to the north. We want you to stay weather aware and keep checking back with 13 News Now. We'll keep you updated if anything changes with the forecast. Have a great day. Thanks for joining us from the Weather Desk.